Hey folks, I'm William. This is Runeforged. Welcome to the channel. Today we've got a very special guest. We've got Gabriel, the Watcher DM. Gabriel, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the folks that don't know at home, we actually got to play a little bit of some Mythic Bastionland. I guess it was a couple weeks ago now. And I got to tell you, I was a little bit cautious about joining the game because normally I don't like to join games where strangers are DMing for reasons I'm sure everyone understands. But Mike, the erudite DM, twisted my arm. He said, "No, you're really gonna like this group. Gabriel's awesome. Just come hang out one session, just see how it goes." And I am so glad that I did because I think that that was probably the most fun that I've had doing a TTRPG one shot slash two shot in a really long time. I thought you were a
Oh,
phenomenal GM. You had great table control. You have great voice. You get you're a great narration and stuff. So I was really thrilled about the game overall. I was curious to hear what your perception of it was.
oh wow, that's so kind. Yeah, oh man. So Mike, when I said to Mike, "Hey, let's play Mythic Bastionland,"
Yeah,
and he was like, "Well, let me invite some people." I was like, "Oh yeah, of course. Whoever. Invite your buddies." And I thought it was going to be his beer and pretzel buddies from his Monday night game that he talks
sure.
about. And I was like, "I'm gonna have to be ready for some real." Some just yucks. These guys are
Shenanigans.
wannabe knee slappers and drinking beer and just
Yeah.
being derpy. And then he's like, "Oh, cool! I invited Will from Runeforged Gaming," and I was like, "Oh, oh shit! We gotta, we
which
better
is so which
actually
is so
do."
funny to me because I don't feel like the channel is very large or that anyone knows who I am. But it's nice to hear that people do.
Well, I mean, I've been watching your show since I think you started. I
Oh,
saw you
cool.
kind of start and
Thank
happen,
you.
and like your early stuff with the Scarlet Minotaur. I just was like, wow, this guy's like doing a really cool thing. This is video content that I'm really stoked as out there. And so like to find out that you were going to be coming, and I was like, okay, cool. I get to meet Will. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Uh, I don't think I was super worried about like the channel difference. Like the YouTube stuff is YouTube, whatever. But I was just like, cool. I get to meet this person, and like not it's not going to be that thing that I thought it was maybe going to be.
Right.
It's
Right.
going to be this other thing where I get to kind of do what I love to do, which is to do an immersive kind of play and engage with the fiction of the world and let everybody kind of get in that. Um, and so, yeah, it kind of afforded me the opportunity to go, okay, let's brush the dust off the old tool set
Yeah.
and kind of bring the kind of game that I would want to for a new, like when somebody joins for the first
Sure.
time to a game or their first
Yeah.
time in a group, you try and do a little polishing, to make sure that like they want to come back. Whether
Yeah.
that's they're coming to the hobby for the first time or they're coming to your group for the first time. Just want to make sure it's a good experience. So it was very nice to have the kind of incentive, like the push along to do that. And I'm glad it worked for you. I
Yeah.
felt like the sessions went extremely well.
Yes.
From my perspective, all the players were again really. It felt like you guys cared about what was happening in the world, which I don't
Yeah.
think that's. I think every DM is like, oh, they care about my
Yep.
little world.
I get
So
that.
yeah. So that was huge, awesome feeling. I wish I could have known. So it was my first time running a prepped Mythic Bastionland.
Sure.
And so I wasn't really sure how much we were going to get through. I was hoping it was a one shot.
Yeah.
And I
That
was
always
wrong.
happens. It always takes twice as long as you think it's going to.
Well, I ran it again. So I ran the same content again for another group,
Okay.
and they did finish it in one session.
Okay. So we were the problem, is what you're saying.
No, no, no. Well, it wasn't a problem.
Uh,
You guys went to the Dark Court.
yes.
They just never even ended up there. They never got through that
Oh,
hex.
gotcha. Makes
So
sense.
because they never went to the site, there
Makes
was
sense.
like kind of a whole extra adventure in that site.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Very good. I did. I think I fast forward a little bit. I should probably give you an opportunity to tell you, the folks who are watching who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Gabriel Watcher, and I create game products as Watcher DM. I also run like a little YouTube channel here, Watcher DM. I don't know, it'll be somewhere, where I do like reviews and tutorials and stuff for mostly like randomization tools. Um, and I'm kind of what you would call like a TTRPG polyglot. Like, I think for the last like couple of years, I have just been vacuuming up any game I can and trying to get it to a table and play or run with my friends.
Sure.
So that's been a lot of my experience lately. But yeah, I've just been doing this stuff for like 35 years now. So it's all there. I also do like illustration, layout, design, adventure writing, editing. I'm a software developer. So I made some
Yeah.
tools. And yeah, that's who I am. If you're interested to learn more about Watcher DM, you can go to my website, watcherdm.com. We have a newsletter that goes out every other week
Nice.
with cool tools and stuff. You got some free adventures there.
Awesome. And all that stuff will be linked down in the video description if people want to go check that out. Yeah, you got yeah, that's the thumbnail. We got it right there. It's gonna be great. Very cool. But going back to Mythic Bastionland, I was
Yeah.
curious, like, what initially attracted you to that game?
Yeah, so I had seen Chris McDowell talking about some of the design philosophy
He's a
stuff
cool
when
guy.
he was. Yeah, he seems really nice. Like I've never met him. I would love to hang out with him. He seems like the kind of person I would really enjoy throwing dice with.
Sure.
But honestly, also just to argue with him about design concepts because I think he's got some strong opinions, and I love that. Like
Yeah.
I love having a nerdy conversation about design with somebody who's clearly so has an opinion about it.
Yes.
Um, but so watching his videos about that was very engaging, and I was like, this seems cool. And then of course the art from Alex Sorensen,
Gorgeous art.
very evocative and absolutely drew me in. And so I started, I think I just bought it. I was just like, well, I'm just getting that now. So
Uh-huh.
I bought it.
Sure. As one does.
And then, yeah. And then it came, but like I bought lots of things. And when they come, usually I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. And I'll flip through it and I'll be like,
Maybe
on the
someday,
shelf,
but
and
probably
maybe,
not.
yeah, it
Yeah.
goes in the pile, right?
Mhm.
I've got the pile.
Yeah.
With that one, I just immediately was like, well, this doesn't look like a role-playing game.
Yeah.
It just had something about it that I was like, this is very foreign to what I have treated as the bog standard role-playing experience for a long time. And I was like, I have to try this. I have to understand
Yeah.
what he's trying to do here. Because I think it's pitched pretty frequently as like a no prep or very, very low prep game.
Okay.
And I was like, how does that work? So I sat down with my partner and we just started playing at duet. And kind of I made a knight, she made a knight, and we both had squires, and we just randomly generated the realm, and we just kind of randomly ran around and experienced the game. I think as you would as like an improv setup.
Yeah.
And it was great. We had a lot of fun. We played like 10 sessions of it.
That's
They
awesome.
were each, they're short, like 10, like an hour each. But we had a blast. And once I got through that, I was like, well, now I got to run it with some prep and see how that goes. And yeah, I'm kind of hooked. It's really good.
Yeah. So I actually had the exact same impression that you did early. I read through it. I skimmed through it. And I was like, I don't even know what this game is supposed to be. This is so different
Yeah.
from anything else that I've ever experienced in this hobby. I literally had no concept of like even how to play it or like what it would look like at the table. And
Right.
I was very pleasantly surprised. I actually think that it was probably the way that you ran it for us that was a big part of why I enjoyed it so much. It really did feel like you put a lot of prep time into doing it as opposed to running it on the fly. And I think that the time you took to flesh the world out, to make good descriptions, to build out the political intrigue side of things, really went a long way towards my enjoyment of our sessions.
Awesome. Yeah. I think the things that it leaves very vaguely determined are things like how do you describe combat? Like it's kind of like the combat system is there, but it's just like the stuff you hang on the end of. It's like this is how you resolve the combat. But
Right.
it's not like this is how it actually feels in the moment. So
Sure.
there is a great section in the back of the book. I think it's called the Apocrypha.
That sounds
Maybe
right. That sounds right.
yeah, I think that's right. Where he does like examples of play, and
Yes.
those were super useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think absolutely like the putting in the extra little bit of prep. And to be fair, like I think one of the things that I've never heard anybody say about Mythic Bastionland, but it's so true, is that the prep loop is very much the game loop. So all you're
Interesting.
doing is you're kind of doing the same thing you would be doing during play. You're just doing it by yourself, and you're using that to kind of do that stitching. It's like one of the things, the best thing about emergent play is when it feels like it wasn't accidental, right? When it seems connected to the past and it seems connected to those results from before.
Yes.
And so, like, going through the process of generating the things and then justifying why they're connected to those other things
Mhm.
kind of creates the world. And it's also that kind of fun to play, right? So, prep is very fun in Mythic Bastionland.
That's awesome. Yeah, so it sounds like you've run the maybe 3+ times now. I was curious if you give folks any tips and tricks for running Mythic Bastionlands if they want to do it themselves.
Yeah, I think the first one is kind of the one I've been saying
Yeah.
so far already, which is just like despite the game's kind of pastiche of being improv, don't let that stop you from doing some prep. I think a little bit of prep goes a long way in Mythic Bastion. It's super super fun to do, and if you can get it to kind of stabilize into a world that you feel has real stakes, your players are going to feel that too. And I think that it's really great because Mythic Bastionland can deliver that in a way that a lot of games have a hard time doing.
Hmm.
Another really important thing that I found while prepping, or actually while playing in improv, is that there aren't a lot of like baked in mechanics for the loss of spirit or clarity. It's
Mm,
basically like if you travel at night or if you camp in winter, there's like a couple of things like that. If you don't sleep enough, that will affect your clarity and your spirit.
sure.
But it's kind of intended for the DM to like do that on the fly.
I see.
My advice would be to kind of create things in the world that affect that, to kind of give yourself triggers for hitting spirit loss and clarity loss. And the big reason for that is like the mechanisms in the game for recovering spirit and clarity are really well defined. So like you have a passion as a knight that lets you recover spirit when you engage in a certain activity.
Yes,
And like
yes.
if you haven't lost any spirit
You just
engaging
lose
in
the
that activity,
flavor.
it feels like it's a bad feeling, which is weird because
Yes.
like no real effect. And the same thing with like clarity, you get it from consulting a seer, right? And so like if you're interacting with the seers at all and you're never recovering any clarity just because you haven't lost any,
Right.
it's you miss out on that mechanic. And
Yeah.
so I think yeah, find ways to use those because I think they add a lot, especially when somebody feels sad. Hit them with a spirit loss,
Yeah. I
right? If
actually really
somebody
like
has to
that.
make a challenging decision that like confuses them or sets them at two minds of something, hit them with a clarity loss. It can be really, really, it can really improve the feeling like the mechanics justify the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all that. I was curious because you had a pretty big like political component to your game that I don't think was necessarily like built into the actual core of what Mythic Bastionland is. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that's kind of my third thing is to like make the courts intriguing. It actually it's weird because like it's not built into like I don't think there's anything that details it in Mythic Passionland,
Yeah.
but all the parts are there. Like
Right.
the whole section on authority and dominion, I think, talk about like court what are they called? It's like complications or something.
Hmm.
And so what I did was I set up because you have in a court, right? You have your ruler, and then you've got like the actual circle, I think, or council of knights that are like there to support, and then you've got the vassals that are there in the court, kind of generally.
Right.
And what I did was I just rolled up knights for the spots where I wanted knights, and the thing that I did that wasn't in the book was I grabbed knave and I rolled. So I
Oh,
have Knave
cool.
Second Edition,
Yeah.
and I used the Knave Second Edition NPC generator to get some personalities and some little traits and some like things they wanted to do. And of course, this made sniveling jerk knights that were great. It was awesome.
It
The
was
rat
great,
knight,
actually.
it
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just as soon as those knights showed up, I fell in love with the world. I was like, oh, I want to know how these guys are going to screw each other over, and they've got all these plots and stuff. I also kind of made the seer into a bit of a villain,
Yeah.
which is, I think, uncommon, but do it.
But
It
it
works.
makes sense. Yeah, it made such perfect sense in context, and you were planting the seeds the whole time.
Yeah.
It was really
Well,
funny.
he was the worst seer.
He's the
Like the
worst.
literal, yeah, the literal title of the seer is the worst seer.
Oh, was it
And so
really?
yeah. And so
That's
having
so
everybody who
funny.
interacted just describe him as, oh, he's the worst was like, oh, it was just beautiful, juicy. The other thing that I did in it that I don't think is super common, but I would definitely recommend doing is a lot of the myths have characters in them. So, like, in our case, we played the Order and the Worm were the
Yes.
two myths going on. And the Order is technically a group of 6 knight scholars. I don't think they're technically knights, they're just like people who kind of fight like knights.
Sure.
But I think the normal intuition is that those are mythical creatures and that they aren't normal people.
Yes.
But my
Yes.
perception of it was no, these are regular people. Like this guy's brother is running an inn over here
Right.
and he's part of the order. And so that kind of
Interesting.
ties the myth into the world in a way. And I think the worm also has like worm shields these kind of, again, warrior folk who like emulate him, and having them kind of be people from the world who like have kind of sloughed their responsibilities to go follow this worm guy and be
Right.
jerks. I think it works really well to kind of make the myths. Well, what was the myth of the order? Right? The myth of the order is the non-hierarchical structure of their organization. It's
Yes.
not the people in it; it's the idea
Yeah.
becoming something bigger than the people. Yeah, I don't know.
I actually
I
I
don't
really
know.
liked the order. I didn't think I was going to at first because it is very it's like it's weirdly like out of genre, I think, but it
Yeah,
really did work in a way that I thought was really interesting because right away we were like, is this weird to anybody else, or is this the world that we're living in, or is this something strange that's happening? And I think you did a
yeah,
really good job of stepping back out of character for a second and be like, no, 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 this is weird. This is not how things normally go. And I think that gave us a lot of clarity about like how we should move forward with it. And it was another really
yeah,
interesting about was like another interesting thing about it was that I don't think we were sure how to deal with them. Like they were more powerful than us in a lot of ways, but also like we didn't like what they were doing, but we just like couldn't do anything about it. But they also weren't like openly antagonistic to us. It was a really weird, uncomfortable gray area in terms of like what we should be doing as players. So when we
yeah.
finally did get the battle at the end, it was very cathartic, for at least for me.
Good, good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was hoping it was because yeah, the final omen of that myth is like, oh, they just go right on the seat of power.
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
have brought their war bands and they are coming to town, and like just having that be that moment where you guys are like, okay,
yeah.
guys, we're gonna fight them and do the battle. It was like, yes, it felt really good.
And I think that I had a sense that was coming because like there were some distractions along the way too. Like there was like a magical sword or armor or something in a cave. I was like, I really want to go get that, but I don't think we have time to do that. And then there was also the worm thing towards the end. I was like, I don't know if we should be helping with this. Like I feel like we just need to go home. And
Yeah.
luckily we were able through some lucky dice rolls. I think we were able to make it back without too much of a hassle. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
The dice helped us tell a pretty compelling story, I think. So
as should be the case in my opinion.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
So you've talked a little bit about some tips and tricks for running Mythic Bastionland. Do you think there's anything that you might do differently in the future based on your experience over the last couple of games?
Yeah, 100%. So I will say straight out that like the most smooth sessions that I ran in terms of mechanical execution of the rules were the ones I played with Alicia, where it was just one player.
Sure, it's less complicated.
So less players definitely has an impact on the complexity of combat and stuff. And like that's obvious, I think, in most cases. I think in Mythic Bastionland, it's obvious in a way that is not normal. So like
Yes.
because there's kind of this horse trading for gambits and how you're going to use your dice results and like what equipment you're using to do what thing, it can get pretty complicated. And that conversation like between more than two people is
Yes.
like kind of wonky. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to get it to sort out if everybody's attacking one guy, and if you're attacking like five different guys, like it's really weird.
Yeah. It's almost like you're
So
running
yeah,
5 different combats at that point as opposed to just one. Yeah, yeah. It
yeah,
looked it
it's a
looked
little
very
weird.
complicated to run.
Yeah. Also, I think that was partly impacted by the fact that we were playing in a VTT.
Yes, I agree.
So I think, at a physical table, I was running for Alicia at a physical table. So it was like super, super easy. I'm gonna try this again. I think my next Wednesday night like creator games sessions are gonna be Mythic Bastionland, and I'm gonna be running that at a physical table. So I'll
Awesome.
report back
Yeah,
with
please
how
do.
that goes. But I would say try and keep it at three players for Mythic Bastionland to kind of start with, and then scale up if you feel like you've got the bandwidth.
Yeah, I think that's all really great information. Hopefully, folks will hear this and go out and play Mythic Bastionland for themselves. I was
They should.
very pleasantly surprised by the game. I didn't actually think I was going to like it that much. I found the combat to be a little bit confusing, but once we got into it, I've really enjoyed it.
Well, I guess there is one other thing I'd probably change next time is I
Yeah,
picked the order and the worm. Like the order was kind of the core myth, and
sure,
I would probably use a different myth. That was a really challenging myth to throw at both
interesting.
times. Both parties that used it, they were just like, "Whoa, these guys hit hard." I was
Oh,
like, "Yeah,
gotcha.
that's fair."
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
you
Gotcha.
guys were like, "We shouldn't fight them. They
Yeah,
they look like they hit really hard." The other guys were like, "Let's kick their butts." Oh my god, we're almost dead.
yeah.
It was
Well,
pretty
I think it
intense.
was Alicia that picked up on the fact that we probably should not mess with these guys. Because I think there were a couple of others where she's like, we just want to fight somebody, but she's like, well, there's more of them, and they have like men at arms or whatever, and they're better equipped than us. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
when you put it like that, that does sound pretty bad. So I'm glad she
Alicia is
tempered
very
us.
good at making the compelling argument for
Yeah,
caution.
I'm sure
She
she's
knows how to
also
keep a character alive.
played with you a lot as well, and she probably
Yeah.
knows what you were. Because I think like we were all like, let's just give it a shot, but ultimately I think we made the right decision. So shout out to her.
Yeah.
Cool. So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about your YouTube channel. It sounds like you've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I'm curious to know like what has your experience been like on YouTube?
Yeah, so I actually started my first YouTube channel in like 2004,
Ooh,
2005 or
one
something.
of the
Like I had it.
OGs.
Yeah. I literally, so actually my buddy Cobalt Groove, he was the first backflip channel on YouTube.
Okay.
I
Random.
ran around and followed with a camera and like recorded his videos. He met Jod before they had sold to Google, like before they even launched. So like I was literally one of the first people uploading stuff. I think it was like user 29 or something. Like
That's
we
insane.
were in that. It was super weird. Super weird and random. I made a YouTube channel way back then. I was doing vlog stuff. It was like karaoke and like occasionally some political stuff. And I was like, I got up to like 1,000, subscribers or whatever. And I was like, whatever, who needs this? I got busy with other stuff.
Sure.
So the channel went away. And when I started doing Watcher DM, I was like, okay, well, I should, make some videos of something. Like it's a platform to do stuff.
Sure.
So I started doing art videos. Mostly it was like art process videos because one of the reasons for doing all this was to kind of become better at illustration and learn how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And so so I just started putting those process videos up, and then eventually it was like, okay, well, I want to make we're making adventures. It might not hurt to give people some guidance on how those work. And so we started making adventure guide videos. And so those all went up. And then I think it was June of this year that I was like, what I really want, because I watch a lot. I watch all the dungeon tubers. Like I think every dungeon tuber watches all the other dungeon tubers.
Yep.
And so I see a lot of review videos, and I see a lot of flip through review videos. And the thing that every time gets me is they will say with confidence how good or bad something is without having played it or run it.
Yeah.
And like, I get it. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like we all have finite time on this earth, and that, it's not going to happen for everyone. But I was like, I want to buck that trend a little bit. I want to at least make some videos that show, what it's like from the perspective of somebody who's run it or played in it. So all of the review videos I've done have been content that I've used, or games that I've run or played, in some capacity. It's not always, a ton, but it's usually in pretty good capacity.
Sure.
The upside of that is I've ended up playing and running a ton of stuff. And like, why did I choose Mythic Bastionland? Because I wanted to run it so that I could make a review of it. It's a beautiful book. So that's the flip through review stuff. And then I also have I have all these random generators on my shelf. Like, I've got the Tome of Adventure Design, which is gargantuan. And I've got the Sandbox generator and all of its kind of, extra bits. And like those kinds of books are really cool. They're really fun. I really, really like them, but I don't use them enough. Like it's always kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to drag this thing out when I need to run a game.
Sure. It's during
I'm
the prep
going to
phase
only drag it out. Yeah, it's kind of prep facing, but like also if you're prepping, you probably already have something in mind. So like, unless you're really kind of reaching for stuff. So I wanted to know what was in them, and I wanted to explore them more. And I was like, well, an easy way to do that is just to make a video where I go through and use the book.
And plus it's content,
Yeah. And that was the birth of the tutorial. I was like, I don't think I've seen a ton of stuff out there where people are like, here's how you make a dungeon using Sandbox generator. Right. And like the Sandbox generator dungeons have a certain vibe. They're kind of cool. And the process for going through them is really cool. But also like, it's not obvious from the book how you would do it.
Right.
If you try to do it as it's presented in the book, it would be very clunky. And so I used my experience of kind of trying to scrabble it together to make a video that actually shows like my process for doing it, which is to actually do it in like reverse order. You generate the room contents first,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
list it all out, and then you go through and you roll for how the rooms lay out within the
Oh,
place, and then you place the rooms
okay.
into the scaffolding of the map, because otherwise you're trying to generate the map as you're generating the contents of the rooms, and you're kind of doing this stilted, like jumping back and forth. It's pretty
Mm,
complicated.
interesting.
Yeah,
It sounds like a cool video. Speaking of which, do you want to talk us through maybe 1 to 3 videos on your channel that you think people would really get the most value out of? Or that you just
yeah,
really
sure.
enjoyed making, whichever one.
Yeah, I think like if you're interested in seeing some of my process for D&D prep and how I kind of got into Sandbox Generator, because I used it for a lot of stuff. I really enjoyed it. The Sandbox Generator dungeon generation tutorial is by far my most popular video. It's got the most views on my channel.
Right.
And then most recently, I think probably it's one of the most popular live videos is I recently did a 4D primer using Shadowdark with Table Runner Crispy,
Yeah.
doing the whole 4D role play stuff, which I've been pretty excited about. I really like the rules that they've applied to that, and I've been trying to
Interesting.
use it in a lot of my games, and it's pretty wild. And yeah, that's a good example of you want to see a video of me role playing as a player. That's that's how I do it.
Gotcha.
Um, and then kind of an aside, like weird video that I made. I don't know how relevant it is, but it's one of my favorites. Is I did a mini myth solo video where I
Okay.
run. So so I have a business card because people have business cards for things,
Indeed.
and I was always like, well, I'm not going to make a business card because business cards are stupid. Like, who needs that? There's
Uh-huh.
phones. Like, they exist. The internet is
Uh-huh.
there now. So I decided to make my business card into a dungeon. My partner actually came up with that idea. She was like, well,
Okay.
just make a little dungeon that fits on a business card. And I was like, that's such a good idea. So I made a business card dungeon. And I, during the last one-page RPG jam, somebody came out with this little zine RPG called Mini Myth,
Okay.
which is like, it's a one page, you just fold it up. And it's a really simple rule set for role playing. And so I ran my business card dungeon using the mini myth thing to
Yeah.
kind of showcase the rule set, because I just thought it was such a cool project.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was a blast. I had a lot of fun.
Cool,
So
man. Well, I think that's a pretty good spectrum of different video ideas. So, well, I'll definitely have links to those down in the video description if people want to go check this out.
thanks.
All right. Let's see here. So, you've been doing this for a while now. You've been in the dungeon tuber space. Do you have any tips for people who are just starting out and might want to aspire to be a dungeon tuber?
Yeah, sure. So I think the first thing I would say is don't listen to me, 'cause I don't know. I have taken the longest possible road to getting 1,000 subscribers. I am not even there yet. Like, and I don't know if it'll ever happen. Like, it's which I think dovetails nicely into my next like thing that I would say is just figure out what your goals are, right?
Yes.
Like if your objective is to make money and become a popular dungeon tuber and have a certain audience, like know that going in, do the things you need to do to get that objective. They are not going to be the same things as like what my objectives were, right? My objectives were to like provide good supplementary content for my adventure modules.
Right.
It was to make something that I wanted to see. It was for me to explore a book that I own that I never get to open. Like, so I was using a very different objective metric. And so just yeah, set early goals and do the things you need to do to get those goals. Don't set goals and then meander around doing what I'm doing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then third, I think this is something that I've been surprised by that I can do, because I
Yeah.
haven't really done it up until now. But that is to build community. Like
Yeah.
most of the dungeon tubers that are doing stuff are just normal people who
Yep.
like you. You're like, I don't think my channel is that big, and
Behold, the most
realistically, at
normal
some
room of
level,
all time. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're just normal people.
Yeah.
Like, we're just doing stuff. And so like there, there is a very high probability that they're totally cool with hearing from you, and that there's an
Yes.
email
Yes.
somewhere on their stuff.
Yeah.
Do the legwork to find their email, send them something nice, and just say, hey, like, would you be cool to check out this video, or do you want to do an interview, or here's a book, would you mind reviewing it? Like,
Yes.
the chances that they're going to say no are low. And if they do, the worst thing that happens is they say, I'm just too busy,
Yeah.
or I just don't have time, or
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. Like, and that's okay. Like, so yeah, build community. The more that I've connected with people in this space already, the more I feel like, oh wow, yeah, this is just a normal.
Yeah.
These are people I would play with you. Like, I would invite you
Yes.
to my table if we
Right.
lived near each other and be like, let's hang out.
Mhm.
So that's great. I think that's going to help you more than probably anything else you can do.
I
Because
agree.
the more people talk about you, the more it goes well.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to echo that. Everyone I've talked to, all the creators in the community, I don't think I've ever had a negative interaction with anybody in the community. Worst case scenario, you either don't hear anything back, which is totally fine, or you say they say, "Hey, this looks really cool. I don't have time to look at this right now, but I appreciate you sending it to me." And sometimes the next thing you send them, they will look at it, so they just like remember your name or whatever. So it doesn't hurt to try. It takes like 10, 15 minutes to craft a nice little email. It's just the level of effort is very low, and the potential for upside is quite high. So the ROI is
Although
high.
it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. Spend 10 or 15 minutes crafting the email, guys.
Yes, correct.
Don't just write. Don't like DM somebody like, hey man, want some? Like that's not. Yeah. Spend 10 minutes.
Absolutely. So go ahead.
No, you were gonna say.
So I have a supplement over on DriveThruRPG. It's like helps new creators make their first Shadowdark thing. In there is a template for how you can send an email to someone to get them to review your thing. It's available. Pay what you want. Get it for free. I don't care. Go download it. Use my template. You can copy paste my template. I don't care. This will get you more responses. So go look at that and don't just when I say 10 to 15 minutes, I mean 10 to 15 minutes. I don't mean like just throw something on the page or write me 27 pages of background. No. Just one short little page is fine. Yeah. So my rant is done.
Super funny. I made the mistake yesterday. So I was talking to Yohai, whom I have not reached out to before, but I kind of took my advice. I was like, Yohai is just a guy. Like, I should hit him up and be like, hey, I want to send some stuff over to you to see if it's good for Between Two Karens or something. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever. I want you to see my stuff. I see your stuff. I just got Beyond the Pale. I love it. I love Karen 2E. I got my box set. It's cool. And I like your opinion. And so I reached out to him, and he was very gracious. And he was like, yeah, here's my PO box, send me some stuff. And I was like, great, I'll send it out in the mail tomorrow. And he was like, or digital, if that works better. And I was like, oh, okay, digital. Yeah, what's your email? Gets me the email. I go punch it in. And I just send him my mega bundle because I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
My mega bundle has like 60 things in it. He was like, holy crap, you have a lot of stuff. I was like, oh, dude, sorry.
That's funny.
It was super funny. Like, he was very cool about it. He was like, thank you for sending me all this stuff.
He seems like a cool guy.
I mean, he is. He seems really, really nice.
Yeah.
Cool. The last thing I would say to aspiring dungeon tubers, anybody who's coming up, is make something you would like to watch.
Yep.
Or something you think you needed that you didn't have before you started making stuff. So like, I know for me, one of the reasons I started doing the art streams when I first started was because there weren't a ton of videos at the time that were about the publishing process and kind of like becoming a scrappy little starter publisher thing.
Yes.
Now I never really turned that in. I never congealed that into like, writing scripts or doing anything effective with it, but it was what I wanted to see. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can start by just making, video streams of me drawing or whatever. But like that, I think that inclination, that desire to make something that you yourself want is going to last longer for your ability to create than following the number, right? Well, like number go up will only work for so long, and the number will only go up so fast. Like,
true.
So you really have to have very tempered expectations and be willing to kind of make it for your own reasons. And so I think it'll help to make something that you would actually like watching.
I think that is great advice. I have also fallen into this trap of creating things that I'm not that interested in, and I will tell you it is a very quick path to burnout for your channel. So, or for actually anything that you do in life, to be honest with you. So just be very careful about trying to chase numbers. I think that is a very valuable lesson. Cool, man. We've talked a little bit about YouTube. I was actually very surprised to find out, looking at your DriveThruRPG, you have a ton of stuff. And I had never heard any of it. So I was wondering if you could like walk us through maybe like 1 to 3 of your favorite supplements and just tell people, like, what are you doing out there?
Yeah, sure. So, it's funny. The reason you haven't heard of it is because I am absolutely garbage at self-promotion.
As most people are, to be fair. So don't be too
I
hard on
think I
yourself.
am. I think I am spectacularly bad at it.
Yeah.
But yes, it's true. Most people have a really hard time with self promotion. So I think the first thing I probably would direct people to is kind of one of my most recent things is I made the Beacon class for Shadowdark. Now, mind
Yeah.
you, I'm kind of picking things for the Shadowdark community because I know that that's a big part of your audience.
Well
And
done.
so yeah. So I think it was like 2 years ago. I had started kind of thinking about like what kind of person finds themselves in demand in the world of Shadowdark.
Sure.
And I was like, sadly, there's no hirelings because you like a torchbearer hireling is such a boon in the world of Shadowdark. And
Yes.
I was like, well, if you can't get a hireling, maybe there should be a class. And so I was already thinking like, how can I
Gotcha.
make a torchbearer class somebody whose mastery of holding a light is its own superpower?
Sure.
And so I finally, that kind of culminated in October of this year was the Drawtober Shadowdark prompts,
Yep.
and I had been kind of planning some stuff, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do because those challenges are really hard. Like doing 31 days of illustrating like day after day is very very difficult to imagine something for each of the prompts and come up with a good drawing for it and execute on it. And so I had this really dumb little sketch of this guy with this kind of mustache and this weird helmet from that I just doodled out one day.
Yeah.
And I love him. I love him with all my heart. It was like this guy. I need this guy in my life. Like whatever is going on with him, he's got these kind of buck teeth and he's just derpy looking.
Sure.
But he's got quintessential adventurer. And I was like, okay, I figured it out. I'm going to make him the main character of all the prompts. So whatever is happening in the prompts, I'm going to draw Arthur Chuffbeck is what I named him. I actually have a video of me making him as a knave character.
That's so funny.
Um, but like, so I started with torch, and I got this Arthur Chuffbeck kind of holding up this
Mhm.
torch. I was like, okay, Arthur Chuffbeck is the beacon. He's got this torch on his tabard, kind of showing off who he is as his class. And so at the end of 31 days, I have now 31 illustrations of this guy doing all kinds of stuff. He's
That's
getting his
cool.
his brain eaten by a brain eater. He's got an ooze attacking him out of his backpack. Kind of waddling away with this huge idol that he's stolen. And so I had all the illustrations at the end of 31 days, and I was like, well, I have no excuse now. Like, I just sit down and like build out the class and set it up. So I think are you the one that has the Google Docs template for
Yeah.
Shadowdark?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So I used your Google Docs
Hey, somebody used
template.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So I used your Google Docs template to build the initial version of the
Cool.
class. And then once I kind of got that working and I was like, this looks good, and I got some feedback on it and some a little bit of playtesting. I took, I think, Sansa Victory's
Sursa
template
Victory. Yep.
in
Sursa Victory.
Sursa, that's a Sursa Victory
Yeah.
for Affinity
Affinity.
Publisher.
Yeah.
And I pulled it in there and I just kind of finished it and zhuzhed it up. And I also took so I work with a writer regularly, Austin Holm. He is by far the most byline you're going to see in the Watcher DM kind of catalog of things.
Yeah.
I trust him with my life. He lives right down the street. He's part of my game group. He's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's a shareholder in Quest Giver Games. Like we are, it's our business together.
That's cool.
But he had written. So he writes a lot of the blog posts and emails for Watcher DM. So like
Right.
he does a lot of that content. And one of the blog posts he wrote was 5 magic swords for Shadowdark. And so there's all these really cool, like he's got a great sense of like how to make a mechanic feel like it's part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so each of the swords kind of has these characteristics to it that are like they play with the torch mechanic or torch timer mechanic. In fact, one of my favorites, I think I'm just going to read it to you. It's really short.
Yeah.
Is it's called the Mirror Blade. Wait, is this it? No. I'm thinking
I don't know,
Shadow
but if
Edge.
it's not, it sounds very cool.
Yeah, they all have cool names. Shadow Edge is actually the one I'm thinking of. So it's a jet black +0 short sword that
Okay.
comes from a higher dimension. It casts 3-dimensional shadows each as deadly as a mortal blade. So if there are 2 or fewer light sources within near, the sword
Oh,
casts a
interesting.
number of shadows equal to the number of light sources. So it can
Okay.
cast up to 2 light sources, basically, up to 2
Hmm.
shadows. And when the sword hits, the wielder can roll damage against a number of additional targets equal to the number of shadows. So basically, you can hit 3 people with 1 attack because the shadows are slicing them. And then if there's too many lights, it's too well lit to cast any shadows.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it's just really, really cool. It's just like, what a vibe, you
That's
know?
a really interesting idea.
Interesting sword.
Yeah,
He's got a ton of stuff like that. It's
that's
just
cool.
really, he's just got a great mind for that kind of stuff. So that's the Beacon. You should go check it out. It's free. It's like pay what you want.
Awesome.
And so yeah, I think anybody who is looking for a class should go enjoy that. Yeah, the next one that I would recommend is also for Shadowdark. It's our kind of our first big Shadowdark adventure because I'd written
Okay.
a couple of like one pagers
Yeah,
that grew out
I
of
love
their
that.
original state. But this one was the first one where I kind of like really dove in. It's called Tower of the Spectral Sorceress. And
Okay.
the original, I had this idea of like a sorceress who had a book club, and something goes wrong at the book club, and everybody dies, and they're all trapped to the location as these kind of ghosts. And so the tower is now this location where all these ghosts are kind of flitting around, and yeah, that's basically the premise. So the rival wizards are like, well, we can't rob our neighbor, who's apparently dead now, but if we send you, it's not us doing it. So
Sure.
can you go retrieve stuff? And so the party goes to steal the things from Cosima Fantine, the sorceress. And so we got a little island that you go to, and it's got some fun little encounters in it. And I don't know if you've seen this one. Have you opened it at all? Have you seen
I have not.
Tower of the Spectral Sorceress?
No.
I'll send it over to you.
Please do.
It was one of the first ones where I did all the illustration, and I really kind of focused on having a very cohesive palette
Cool.
and theme. So it all feels like all the design, all of the illustration, all looks like it's kind of at the same time of night. If that makes any sense, like the moon is kind of casting across it
An
all at the
extra
same.
level of detail. Yeah, I thought you were just talking about like the
Yeah,
same art style. You're like, no, no, no. The lighting is the same. Yeah, very cool.
it just feels very. I don't know. It feels all very very connected.
Gotcha.
But it's got some fun stuff in it. Like, I am a silly person. I'm not. I do not take myself very seriously,
Uh
and so
huh.
like when I make a role playing adventure, it's gonna probably have some things in it that are a little like kind of dad jokey. So like I think the big thing with this is like the book club was supposed to be reading a romance novel, and the person brought a necromance novel. So of course it's
Uh huh.
that's the
Uh huh.
joke. They all got turned into ghosts.
That's funny.
Beauregard, the doorman, the kind of butler for Cosima, died and comes back as a white, and he like demands invitations. You must have been invited, or I'll attack you, whatever.
Yep.
But like you can go get down into his little basement hovel and find that under his pillow are 14 drafts of an awful love poem for Cosima. He's in love with his employer.
Bummer.
Margins packed with self-criticism.
Yeah.
So yeah, just little fun things like that I just love. I think we got a really cool, like Austin is really really great at like poems and riddles.
Cool.
So there's a magic mouth that asks for the answer to a poem, to a riddle, which is walls of spines all holding leaves, locked at night, immune to thieves, architect's pride and beggar's rest. What am I describing best?
I love a good riddle, man.
I love it, right?
Yeah.
Any guesses?
No, I have no. I'm terrible at them. No, I have no guesses. I don't know.
You love a bunch of
Do you
terrible.
want to reveal the answer, or do you want to save it as a spoiler for people who might play the adventure?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. People go figure it out.
Okay.
Go check out Tower of the Spectral Sorcerers. Of course, all the ghosts are in there, so they're hanging out. There's the dramatic fight with Cosima at the end,
Very cool.
and then yeah, the party bails out with some stuff. We've also got like kind of a section on adjustments and customizations that you can make to the adventure.
Very cool.
And yeah, it's fun. I don't know. It's a really good little adventure. I think it's one of our first kind of more professional looking adventures. Our older stuff is, it's a little hackneyed, but
That's okay.
it's one of our better ones.
Cool. I mean, it sounds like a fun adventure.
It is. It really
You're
is.
like, oh, I know it is. I know.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I've played it a few times, and it's
Yeah.
very fun every time.
Cool.
And then the last one that I would recommend people check out is Seven Sealed Spirits
Okay.
expanded edition. This one is written for Knave Second Edition, but of course it works for basically any OSR game. Although I
Sure.
will say we did pay special attention in this one to the specific mechanics of Knave. So there's like functionality support for kind of every part of Knave was really part of what we were trying to do with the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Knave Second Edition, I think it's a bad rap as being not a full rule system. Like people kind of treat it like it's a nice book of tables, but is it a
Sure.
real rule system? But like there's a lot of really robust kind of ideas in it. And we really fell in love when working on this with like how to use those mechanics to bring the narrative into the game. So we spent we shipped this for the Knave Second Edition Game Jam
Right.
in its 16-page incarnation. So like the rules for the Game Jam were you can't have more than 16 pages. So we made a 16-page version, and it's basically like a micro campaign. It has a dungeon and like an island where this dungeon is kind of the setup.
Sure.
And the layout and design of it is I personally think it's like among my best work as a layout artist. Like this was kind of one of the first times where I really was like focusing on how do I achieve something similar to what I see out of Joseph R. Lewis, or what Bryce Lynch talks about as like really good, elegant design, or
Right.
like what is Ben Milton talking about when he's talking about terse, punchy prose. And so like we really labored over this thing kind of a lot to kind of get it, and it's dense. It's super super dense. We got 9 hexes of playable island space, 3 floors of dungeon, I think at like, I don't know, 20 something rooms.
Cool. It's a beefy
And
adventure.
then, 7 whole, so I think they're called, oh gosh, patrons, I think is what they're called.
Okay.
In Knave, basically it's the idea of like a god or a demigod or some kind of weird spirit that you've made compact with, and
Sure.
they offer boons, right? So like the whole mechanic in Knave is it's pretty loosey goosey. Basically, like a powerful being can offer you a boon or curse you depending on how you interact with it. So it's like
Sure.
get its favor, it gives you a boon, whatever. And so we designed 7 spirits, the opponent, the titular spirits, to be these for this adventure, and they're kind of locked beneath this island from these dwarves who disappeared. So they locked them up, and then they got killed or died off or whatever. And since then, humans have kind of repopulated the place, and you come sailing in with stories of treasures buried beneath this ancient civilization. There's a volcano on the island that's kind of maybe responsible for the absence of the dwarves. It's a little unclear initially. We wanted to use something like displacer beasts, but we didn't want to do things with WotC. So we ended up making what we call mirror mains. So they're these cats with like fiber optic fur that like project reflections of themselves off of the fog.
Yep.
Very cool. Kind of based on like the coatl, I think, or the what are they called? Cool. Now I won't be able to remember. Anyway, mirror remains. They're great.
Yep.
Each of the spirits are super weird. Like Targrasp is a billion hands. Uh, like the Doom Grasp from like Zelda, the Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
Like all those hands
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
coming
Yeah,
up out
yeah.
of the shadows. That's what Targrasp is. He's basically like this black hand god.
I like that.
But he is a god of basically like commerce and like kind of death. Like he's just this really weird like trader. He's always trading stuff. So like he
Interesting.
will sell things to the party for different things. And so your initial interactions with him are more like an NPC.
Right.
Um And then like Stormbloom is this like raging goddess of kind of passion and creativity, who is represented as like six swan wings orbiting a blooming rose.
Okay.
So yeah, just yeah. It- I think that says a lot about what we're talking about here, but it's just very weird, evocative kind of spirits that you interact with
Dude, it
in this
sounds really
place.
cool.
It's pretty neat.
The Tar Hand god sounds very interesting, and also your take on this god of death. It's also like a god of commerce. I find that like a
Yeah.
really interesting. It's maybe a little bit unusual, but I think it's a very interesting take on death, and it actually makes a
It's
lot
a
of sense to
super
me.
good
Yeah,
play mix.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So like, oh, so that was the 16-page version.
yeah,
And then we were like, well, this is really good. We kind
yeah.
of want to finish it. So we made the full 32-page version. We kickstarted it. It was a super tiny Kickstarter, but it was successful. And so we printed up a bunch of the zine. So we have actually like a bunch of the 32-page zines. And we added basically there's a pirate ship you can go explore. High Talon's Tower is like an end game dungeon that kind of emerges from the city you're in if you free High Talon, which is this barn-sized six-eyed owl spirit. Like he will kind of roost over the city and all the buildings will start to grow into towers as he kind of spreads the nature of cities. It's kind of his domain is like cities. We also fleshed out the uh, volcano dungeon. So there's like a whole dungeon inside of the volcano that you can go
It's cool.
crawl into. So it ended up being like 5 dungeons on a hex crawl with a whole city full of NPCs and stuff you can do there. There's like carousing stuff you can do that you can't do anywhere else. It's wild. It was such a journey making this book. Oh, and then the very back page is so you looted a wizard or so you looted a pirate. Just really great little punchy D20 tables.
Yeah,
But yeah, literally just one of my it's the most favorite thing I've ever made. I love it to death.
dude, that's
So yeah,
awesome.
check out Seven Sealed Spirits. You can still get the 16-page version. Pay what you want; it's free. And if you want to upgrade to the 32-page version, I think you can get it for like $5 in the bundle.
Okay,
Like they have like all of the Knave 2e game jam entries in like a $5 in like a bundle where
that's
it's
cool.
like half price. And then if you go to watcherdm.com, I will send you a copy if you
Hey,
buy it from there.
that's
So
awesome.
physical copies are nice.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
so that's my 3. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, obviously we'll have links to those down in the video description if folks want to go check those out. Sounds very cool.
Thank you.
All right, Gabriel. So unfortunately, we are running kind of short on time. I did want to talk about some more hobby stuff. I would love to have you back on the channel at some point, probably in the new year, if you'd like to come back and just chat hobby stuff. But yeah,
Sure.
cool, man.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for having me again. Thanks for letting me kind of blab on about my little nerd stuff I've made.
I wouldn't have it
a
any
lot
other
of fun
way.
making it, so yeah, it's been
Yeah.
great. And I will shuttle you over some copies of some of this stuff so
Please
you
do.
can take a look at it and hopefully find some time at your table. I know that's the I don't know why everybody else is doing it, but my dream is that somebody actually
Yes.
runs this stuff at their table.
100%.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
every time I hear about that, I'm just like, oh, my heart, it's great. So
Very
yeah.
cool. All right. Well, as we round down here, would you like to remind people where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, everybody would like you to go to their own website, by the way. If they're a creator
Correct.
and they have a website, they would like you to go to their website. So, you should go to watcherdm.com. You can sign up for our mailing list there and get access to all kinds of bespoke content. If you want to support me in a way that is not directly purchasing, but like a little money here and there, you can go to patreon.com/watcherdm, where you can get early access to all my videos and bespoke content that I only serve to my patrons. Otherwise, you can find us on itch.io or DriveThruRPG. Just search for WatcherDM. Pretty impossible to miss. And of course, you can follow us on Blue Sky if you just want the social touch point, some stuff to follow.
All right. Very cool. And again, all that stuff will be down in the links below. All right, Gabriel, thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to doing this again in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Will.
All right. Bye. Bye, y'all.
Bye.